Hello, this is Isaac, and I want to start this Elixir bit series. So every time when I will have time, I will upload a video about Elixir, and I'll make it short. And in this part, I'm going to talk about pattern matching, guards, and recursion. Okay, so let's begin. And of course, you need to have Elixir installed in your machine, and I'm going to put a link below to show you how to install it. So first of all, let's start the IEX console, the Elixir interactive Elixir, and I'm first gonna explain pattern matching, how it works. Okay, so pretty much in object-oriented languages, you will see something like this, and well, you will tell yourself that 5 is being assigned to A, right? Equal is assignment operator, but no, equal is not an assignment operator in Elixir or Erlang. Equal is a pattern operator, a matching operator. So in this case, we try to match 5 to A, and if it succeeds, then we're going to bind 5 to A. So A is now equal to 5, and I can also bind 6 to A, and now A is 6. In Erlang, for example, you cannot rebind values. If you set A to 5, it's going to be 5 forever. But in Elixir, it's possible. Now, let me show you this one. I can put here a list of A and B, okay, and I'm going to make it equal to 1 and 2. Now this worked, no error, right? Pattern matching again. So A is going to be equal to 1 and B is going to be equal to 2. A matched this number 1 and B matched this number 2. So this is something that you're not used to in languages like, I don't know, JavaScript, PHP, or Ruby. So this is the power of pattern matching. And if I'm going to do something like this, then we're going to get an error because they don't match. We have here 2 values and we have here 3 values, 2 variables and 3 values. So they don't match, right? So the left hand side and the right hand side must match. But if I'm going to add here the letter C, they will match, and C is going to be equal to 3, as you can expect. Now, if I'm going to do something like this, B, this is not going to work because I can't, B is already going to be equal to 2. So we're going to have a conflict here. So this is not going to match. Okay, so this is the basics of pattern matching. And I'm going to show you one more example. Let's say you have a list. I'm going to make A to be a list of 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so we have a list. A is a list. So if I want to grab the first value of the list, I can do head tail. This is, again, it's going to use pattern matching, and it's going to be equal to A. So now the head is going to be equal to 1 because this is the first item of the list, and tail is going to be equal to the rest of the list, which is 2 and 3. It could be more, but it could be one value. Okay, so this is using pattern matching. Pretty much almost everything is pattern matching. Now let's do a useless example of all that, but it will teach you how recursion works and guards are going to work. So we're going to have here a module def, and I'm going to call it recursion. And you know how the asterisk example, when you like print 10 asterisks and then 9 and 8, so I'm going to do this one. So let's create a function. I'm going to call it def, and I'm going to call it print asterisk, and it's going to accept a counter and an n, and this is a guard because I want this function to be invoked only when n is bigger than 0. Once it's invoked, I'm going to write to the console an asterisk. Now write will make sure it's going to all be printed in the same line. Okay, and then I'm going to call the print asterisk function again. So this is the recursion. This is the beginning of the recursion. We will not change the counter right here, but we will change the n because eventually we need this to be 0, so this one will terminate. And now we're going to set another function. Well, it's not another function, it's actually the same function, just another clause of the same function. So you can imagine it's like a case statement with many cases. So in Elixir, you can have many functions of the same name. Well, it's not many functions, it's just many clauses of one function. This is one function, okay? So don't get confused. So we have the counter, and we have a underscore. Underscore means that we don't care about the value that we're going to get, but we must put it because when this fails, we want this to succeed. We still need to contain the variable, which will be 0, because when n is 0, it's still going to be passed to this function. So we want to contain it, but we're not going to use it. and we want the counter to be bigger than 0. Once this is going to happen, I'm going to first create a line break, and I'm going to call the print asterisk again, and this time I'm going to change the counter value. I'm actually going to pass it twice. The counter is going to help us track how many asterisks we have left to print. So now, first of all, let's do the first print. Recursion dot print asterisk, and we want to do 10. Let's see what's going to happen. Let's get out of here. This is how I can run the file, elixir.recursion. So unexpected token end. So we have a problem here. Def end, def do end. Yeah, I forgot the do right here. Okay, this is working, as you can see, but we have an error here, no function clause matching. This is because at one point this is going to be 0, this is going to be 0, so we need another function that will take care of, we just the shortcut. We need another function that will accept the number 0. In this case, we're just going to put again the underscore because we don't care what's going to happen. Let's run this again. No function clause matching. Oh, because there's 2 values, remember, 2 values. Let's run this again, and it's working. No errors. I can change this to 20, and it's still going to work. Let me recap this, and then I'm going to show you the shorter version of this. So I'm passing the 10, the number 10, okay? It's gonna, first of all, I want to make it clear. The order does matter in this case, because what will happen when I call print asterisk, it will try to match the first clause. So if I'm going to do something like this, you see, this clause cannot match because the previous clause at line 2 always matches. This one will match forever because of these 2 underscores. These underscores are basically telling you, I don't care what the value is, I will accept it, but I'm not going to use it, but I will accept it. So it will always accept. I can put here a 10, I can put here a list. As long as it's 2 and 2, the number of items are the same, it will accept it. So in this case, the order does matter because it goes from the top to the bottom. So even when I call it here, it will always try to match the first clause. When this fails, it will try this one. If this succeeds, this print asterisk will try also to match this one, okay? So we're passing 10 and 10. Eventually n is going to be 0, and then the counter, which is 10, I'm going to go down to 9, and then it's going to recap and go down to 8, to 7, to 6, and this is how it succeeds. But this is long, right? But you do see how the guard clauses, they work well, how the pattern matching work well. Okay, but this is still long. So in this case, we're going to change it. We only need one variable to pass. And I can get rid of this one. And I can do something like that puts, because we can just print it in one line, and we can do something like string that duplicate. This is a built-in module from Elixir or Erlang. I haven't checked it really. And we want to print it n times, okay? And then we're going to call it again n-1. Let's see if it's going to work. Variable counter is unused, right? Because we don't need a counter here. You can see it didn't match it. And it's working again. I can put 20, and it's still working, and this is much shorter. So all I'm doing is passing it the number n, which is 20. If it's bigger than 0, we're gonna duplicate it n times. So as you can see, it's gonna print it in the first time 20 times. Then the n will decrease the number until it gets to 0. Once it gets to 0, it will match this clause, which is done. It's not gonna do anything. Now in this case, the order does not matter because 10 or 20, whatever value I pass here will never match. It's not going to match 0 in this case. Okay, this will never match 0. So in this case, order doesn't matter. So you've seen two examples: a longer version, a shorter version. The shorter version, the order didn't matter. In the long one, it did. But in both cases, you saw how recursion works, that you need to terminate recursion in one way or another. You can use guard clauses. And as you can see, this is a pattern in functional programming languages. Usually the code is much shorter than object-oriented programming. I mean, if you compare code from Erlang or Elixir to C or Java, the code usually will be shorter and much more concise and clear. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed it, and on the next time who knows what I will do. Okay, so have a good day.